This classic episode of the Electric Playground is brought to you by PMP Games, your source for everything video games. Support the partners that support Electric Playground. Remember, this episode first aired in 1997.
Well, this week we're going to be visiting with those old Atari games. Also, Crash Bandicoot.
Bandicoot.
Yeah, whatever that is. Try one more time.
Hi, I'm Tommy Tallarico. Now each week we're going to take you inside the world of video games like no one else has ever done before. I'll pack in weekly reviews of the hottest new games, and you got what we call the Electric Playground.
Atari's new Indy 500 is more fun because it's so action-packed. And a lot safer.
Atari's new combat is more fun because it's most challenging.
Atari's new RC battle is more fun because it's just like the real thing. Only drier.
From Ultra Pong to our new programmable video computer system, Atari's got more original games, and that's more fun for you.
When you think of classic games, you gotta think of Atari. Now, EP recently visited some of the founding fathers of the video game industry. Nolan! Who came up with the name Atari and why?
I came up with the name of Atari because it was a word that was used in a game that I like to play, which was Go, which is actually an Oriental game developed in China a gajillion years ago, picked up in Japan, and when you attack another group of stones, it's black and white stones on a matrix, you say Atari. And it's sort of like, and it's a polite warning to your opponent that he's about to get whacked.
I began here in 1973. Started working with Nolan Bushnell, literally building Pong on the production line in 1973.
I joined Atari in August of '76 to work on video games. I joined because they had a game room. It had Super Breakout in it, which was my favorite game at the time, and I played it every day, as much as I could. And the rest of the time I spent doing video games.
Pretty hard to believe that you're going to interrupt me playing my 2700, which
Actually,
never
I wanted to play it.
Who knew?
All for a 1984 Atari 2600 with Pac-Man built in.
In those days, the computers we were playing on cost, $9 million. So you'd say, gee, $9 million, 25 cents a play, math doesn't work.
No, I worked at Atari from the summer of 1977 through to about the beginning of 1985.
And so I knew that the games we were playing on the big computers, if I could make them commercial, would be a big success.
From an engineering standpoint, one of the most amazing machines ever made.
And so in some ways, the real thing that I did, rather than to say I invented the video game, I really commercialized the video game. I made it possible.
The guys that were designing the TI-994, which was one of the very first home computers from Texas Instruments, they had taken apart a 2600 and they had it nailed to a wall and with a big sign, like this guy's.
Atari was really the first, what I'd call cyber sports game mecca. I mean, we just annihilated everybody who was our competition.
Want to play Atari?
Sure, pick something.
Okay, we've got Cannonball.
You're too good at Cannonball.
True. Miniature golf, casino.
Let's play Breakout.
Okay, I'll just pop in the cartridge.
Great.
Who's first?
You be first, I'll win.
Oh, that's what you think.
Dad, that's supposed to be fun for the whole family, right?
Right, son, we're having fun.
Then when do I get to play?
Oh, I did. I broke out.
Rematch.
When do I get to play?
No other company offers you as many different video game cartridges as Atari.
The Atari 2600 sold somewhere between 20 and 40 million units.
2600 was really a marvelous machine. It was the precursor to the home computer, was the Apple Model 1 was very much modeled after the 2600. It's really amazing how much technology that we have today came out of Atari in the late 70s and early 80s.
programming the 2600, from a programmer's standpoint, it was a dream. It was perfect in every way.
I sold it to Warner Communications, and they ran it up to a couple of $2 billion. And then, but all the stuff that they produced was in the lab when I left.
We'd sit in a lab about the size of this room, and there were 4 or 5 of us, and we'd basically sit all day playing each other's games and programming games.
About the time that Tank happened, or somewhere between Tank and the next project I was involved with, which was Sprint, where it became clear as hardware systems became more capable and powerful, and especially within the advent of the microprocessor, that this was something more than just kind of a one-time diversion. It wasn't a hula hoop.
There's really only about 80 instructions you actually use. And the chip inside the 2600 only had 20 registers you had to know. So it turns out you could actually program in your sleep or in your dreams. And so you could sit and program sitting here. And you could say, I know what I want to do. And tomorrow you'd go in and do it. And so as a programmer, it was like totally beautiful. Kaboom was 2,000 bytes total, the entire game. So you literally could memorize your entire game. And you had to, because you had to get it to fit into 2,000 bytes. If it was 2010, it wouldn't fit.
Atari was one of the largest employers in the Silicon Valley. At one time, it was the world's largest user of microprocessors, ROMs.
It was extremely successful. It had penetrated all the homes and reached what's called saturation point. So from then on, you have to sell software.
And look at this, a shrink-wrapped Pac-Man.
I stood outside of one of those chain stores in a long line to buy this when it came out. It was a big deal.
Most kids did?
No, actually, to tell you the truth, I didn't expect arcade stuff. I didn't know they could do what they ultimately did with Ms. Pac-Man and Centipede, and I was a little disappointed, but I wasn't surprised, and Wafer Man turned out to be a lot of fun back then.
You know, they just don't make games like they used to, Don. It's certainly not like an original 1977 boxed Sears Telegames video arcade, which was really the first 2600. Of course, it shipped with either air-sea battle or combat, but it really took this game right here, Space Invaders, which came out for Christmas of 1979, to really boost the popularity of the 2600 and make it really the classic item it became.
If you don't renew what's going on,
right,
it crashes. And so it crashed in 1983.
We lost the interest of the players. Basically.
And that was true in the arcade world
That
as
was
well?
true in the arcade, and it's also true in the consumer world. I think one of the stories that happened was the ET cartridge was basically ended up, I don't know how many million ET cartridges got buried in the landfill out here.
Do you know anything about the rumors that there are ET cartridges buried somewhere in the desert?
Absolutely true.
Are you serious?
Think of this decision. As a corporate maven, you build more cartridges than you have installed base.
Well, how many 2600s were there back then when this fiasco happened?
I think that there was like 8 million.
8 million, and then how many ET cartridges did they make?
I think they did 10.
There's something about, I think, the video game industry in particular, for most people, gets in their blood, and it seems once they've had that experience in it, it's tough for them to just pull away and never leave it.
It's the best time I ever had in my life. Many of those years, I never worked so hard for so little money, but those are the best years I ever spent in my life.
For more classic game information, check out our website at ep.simpatico.ca.
Has this ever happened to you? You're busy gaming, and it's time your friends and family got the message.
Hey, Mom? Yeah, look, I'm in the middle of something.
What a waste. Dial 1555 offline to suspend your landline.
The person you have dialed is gaming and just reached Disc 2 of Final Fantasy VII. Please hang up.
That's more like it. Dial 1555 offline today. Don't actually dial.
Boss Games is working on a couple of boss games for the Nintendo 64, Top Gear Rally and Twisted Edge.
Originally, our mission statement was create original content, basically products that we own, and just go out and produce good games. Oh yeah, make money, that was the other thing, yeah.
Study hard and you too can make a jackass of yourself on TV.
So far we've shipped 2 products, Spider on PlayStation, just shipped Top Gear Rally, it's on the shelves, and I think it's a really good product.
Well, basically what we did, well, you know, I think all the artists, we made sure we kept in mind of how far back the camera can see.
Yeah.
You know, how far back it can see. And it's far back enough where your straights allow you to get fast enough, but where it drops off to prevent drawing, we just, you know, put a little chicane or maybe a turn in the track at the right moment so that the drawing, the popping doesn't happen. There's still, you know, some good straightaways, you can get some speed, and then you don't notice the popping. It's one of those things, if you don't notice it's better.
So what did you bring to the team?
When I was interviewing with the art director, Martin, he's like, yeah, what kind of games do you like? I said, oh, dude, I love racing games. I love racing. Oh, it's bad, isn't it? He's like, hey, well, you know, we're doing a racing game. Oh, dude, man, let me do the cars then, man. I'll do the cars. I don't mind doing that. So maybe he took that to heart and considered that when he decided whether or not he wanted to hire me, because, you know, they threw me on here and said, do the cars. I'm like, yeah! So it was like a dream job, you know.
I think it's so cool that you guys are so upfront about Top Gear Rally, and you guys are telling it like it is. You got to give the game some time.
It became obvious we could either make it into an arcade racing game, make it easy to play, or we could make it into a game which was more challenging, give the player a little bit more feel, give them something to get used to. And in our opinion, it's just a lot more fun once you get used to it.
And what kind of surprises and rewards do players get if they keep going with the game?
The fabulous, what do they call it? The wonderful milk truck, or the amazing milk truck. You know, before I could tell anyone, hey, how about a milk truck? And have them say, nah, you know, I just modeled a bad boy up and then showed it to them. And it was already done and ready to go in the game. So, you know, why not? You can't say Top Gear Rally is slow if you haven't driven the Porsche. You know, there's a lot of arcade racing games.
Yeah.
Arcade racing games that you pick up and, you know, you play it for 2 days and you've beat it.
Yeah.
You know, it's all done, you got all the cars, and where's the replay value?
Wave Race, I think, is an awesome game.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we've always bandied around the office is Wave Racing itself. What we're seeing here is a version of Twisted Edge Snowboarding running on development system, an SGI Indy. You see what we're trying to get, you know, basically the changes from enclosed in to open. The whole idea of the snowboarding game is that stunts will always be advantageous to you. If you pull a stunt off, you will always be rewarded for it.
Cool.
And it won't just be points. Even in a straight downhill race against your friend in 2-player mode, you start pulling more stunts off than he is and you'll win. There will be shortcuts, there will be things that open up and close during various points in the game.
It could take several days to several weeks to actually model an entire track. We start off with a very simple base track, and using these curves, we test the actual gameplay of it before we do the final geometry.
What about busting through trees and stuff like that and making your own?
There will be nasty trees, yes.
Who on staff is an avid snowboarder? You get up on the hills yourself?
I do get up on the hills myself.
Yeah.
Avid, yes. Good, no.
Yeah. Is this the first job that you've had in the video game business?
No, I worked on a couple Doom titles. Not Doom, Doomed, Dead. You know, they had no future titles.
Boop. 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 Blip, blip. Boop.
Nintendo's got Mario. Sega has Sonic. Now, the cornerstone character for the Sony PlayStation is Crash Bandicoot. We talked to the developer Naughty Dog about the creation of Crash and his upcoming sequel. When did all this craziness start?
Naughty Dog's about 11 years old. My partner Andy Gavin and I formed a company to make Apple II games. And our first game was called Ski Crazed.
Ski Crazed?
And it absolutely didn't simulate skiing.
Okay.
And it sold okay. It
Yeah.
did all right. It gave us enough money to buy some more video games and gave us the sort of the taste of blood. The 3DO at that point, the next generation system was big.
Right.
So we decided at that point we wanted to fund ourselves. And in a year put out Way of the Warrior on an $80,000 budget. It was sort of the El Mariachi of video games.
Well, well, well. If it isn't Crash Bandicoot.
What do you do, Eric?
I'm a modeler for Crash.
A modeler?
Yeah.
Like, do you have like bathing suit modeler or what?
Do 3D models for the game.
3D models. Yeah. Okay, cool. And you got some kind of like snow cone thing happening here.
Yeah, this is one of our tools. We do coloring and texturing with this tool.
Of course.
Did you find that like the only negative thing that was said about Crash was the fact that it was on a track?
Yeah, we took quite a bit of flack in the press on that, but not, it seems, on the part of the consumer. We did that deliberately in order to create a really approachable, no-brainer experience.
I see up on screen here you got, what is that, the electric playground there?
Yeah, with a 8 out of 10 review from Victor.
The thing is, when you have all these choices and stuff, you have to think about them, and it's not always clear. It's often more fun just to go for it.
What happened with this guy?
Well, when we came to Universal, we wanted to create a character as opposed to creating a pantheon of characters as you would do for a fighting game. We wanted somebody to focus on. And we also wanted a cartoon-style character. So we went out and we hired 2 cartoon animators from Hollywood. This was our big move from Boston, where we did Where the Warrior to Hollywood. We decided to get cartoon talent, and paid off in spades, because we had people that could tell us right off the bat, this kind of thing works, this kind of thing doesn't work. And working with them, the original 8 members of Naughty Dog created, slowly but surely, Crash.
Where did you guys come up with the name Naughty Dog?
Began probably with a cartoon character that Jason had sketched, a dog-like character with sunglasses and stuff who was kind of surfing a disc.
So it has nothing to do with like the state of the floor here. There's a bit of a naughty dog in your establishment. What would you say your favorite game is currently?
Crash Bandicoot.
What do you think about that?
And that has got to be the weirdest keyboard.
That's my Vulkan interface here in NORAD. As you see, this is kind of a closed-in office. This is central programming area here. We make things work, make the creatures move around, and we program how they behave. And what I do a lot of is I work on tools. For example, a tool that might take animation and put it in the game, convert it from a modeling package representation that they do in Alias, and compress that down into a small amount of data for the game.
Look, this is wrong right there.
Oh, man, you're right. Let me fix that.
Can you fix that, please? God, I just fixed an A bug back here.
That was supposed to be a 5, and it was actually an 18. So.
See that? Huh?
Well done. Knew I could rely on you.
RJ Michael asked me to come work on this new secret project that turned out to be the 3DO. Then I worked on M2 on the graphics pipeline for M2.
Is there technology from M2 that can cross over into the place?
Oh yes, definitely. We do mip mapping. We do subdivision, things like that we also applied them to. So PlayStation's a very well balanced machine, and I like working on it.
It's a tremendous game with just a tremendous number of polygons and textures and animations and everything, and just squeezing it all down into the game machine. It was a real challenge.
I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
You're hurting my elbow.
Coming up next, reviews on the run.
Hey, I'm Lee from PMP Games, and we're honored to bring you classic episodes of The Electric Playground every Saturday morning. Visit us on our web store at pmpgamesonline.com, or if you're in Winnipeg, at one of our 3 retail locations at 915 McLeod, 2609 Portage, and 160 Meadowood Drive. We're gonna play forever. Now, back to the show.
Well, on Heat.net, you're going to get all the different levels. You're going to have fast, reliable gameplay. And very soon, you're going to have a Heat-exclusive Quake mod, which has up to 13 different levels with all the original artwork. It's more than a mod, really. It's a total redo. I mean, it's using the Quake engine, but we've got all our own art and everything.
Today on the Simpatico Question of the Week, Jerry Dubois of Hamilton, Ontario asks, where did the term bug come from?
In 1948, the first big computers were made out of vacuum tubes, and no one really believed this, but the thing was as big as this room, and it had literally 1,000 bits of memory. That was it, all vacuum tubes. And literally there was a moth inside the machine that shorted out one of the vacuum tubes. And Grace Hopper, who at that time was in charge of the project for the Navy, she was eventually became an admiral, I think the only female admiral. She found this bug, literally a moth, and put it in the notebook, smashed it, and that was the first bug. And ever since then, we've called anything wrong with a computer a bug.
EP wants your questions. You'll find us on the web at ep.simpatico.ca. Look for that simpatico question of the week thingamajiggy in the corner there. Click on that and send us something.
Nuclear strike for the Sony PlayStation.
Well, I mean, this place here looks like it's been nuclear struck.
Stricken. I don't know.
Anyway, I'm a big fan of the Strike series, going way back on
Me
the
too.
Genesis, all the Jungle Strikes, and all that stuff was great. Here's a game where the graphics, I mean, they are just photorealistic.
I know.
The water
I know.
is just beautiful.
The landscape is unbelievable.
The missions were excellent. Whoa, Nelly.
Nuclear strike!
The graphics are just absolutely amazing. I mean, they're like photorealistic. The missions are amazing. I thought the best part of the game was the FMV cut sequences.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
did you ever think you'd actually say that about a video
No,
game?
no.
I mean, most FMV really sucks, you know?
EA's got this one down. Soviet Strike totally rocked on the Saturn and the PlayStation, and Nuclear Strike is going to knock your socks off. I'd give the game 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10? I had fun playing it. 8.8.
8.8?
8.8.
Pick that one up.
Okay.
What about another war game? Steel Rain for the PlayStation.
Wow, Steel Rain for the PlayStation. I mean, I can't believe I'm seeing this game in 1997.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, this game is not well done. I mean,
it's choppy.
It's very choppy. Next review.
It doesn't compare to Warhawk or Twisted Metal that appeared in 1995.
Yeah.
And the missions are cool, the tanks are cool, the graphics could have been way better.
Way better.
The control's ridiculous. It's 4 out of 10.
The frames of animation were like non-existent. I mean, this game was so choppy.
Yeah.
I had
Choppy.
Choppy. Choppy is the key word with this.
Choppy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought the coolest part in the whole game was there's fences, and I'm in a tank, and I can run over the fences.
Yeah.
So if you're into games where you like running over fences and tanks, definitely pick it up. If not,
It's choppy.
You're not gonna have too much
It's
fun.
really choppy.
I give it a 6 out of 10.
6, you're being generous, man.
Well, I like running over people, and I like running over fences.
All right. Mace for the Nintendo 64.
Wow, Mace is a 3D fighting game for the N64. It's about time.
Yeah.
It's about time there's a 3D fighting game for the Nintendo 64. And let me tell you something about this game. It has, and I'm a big Tekken fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big Virtual Fighter fan.
Yeah, me
but
too.
This game has the best 3D backgrounds I've ever seen.
Yep.
And they're interactive, you know?
And the lighting effects and the fire effects, this thing is unbelievable. It looks like Killer Instinct merged with Soul Blade.
But
choppy.
There's not a lot of frames of animation.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, some of the earlier Toshinden
Yeah.
type stuff where it's very,
Yeah.
very choppy. Now,
You're absolutely correct.
One thing, what do you think about fighting games with an analog stick? I don't like it.
Doesn't work yet.
I
You
don't
know
like
why?
it.
They're
Why?
not really 3D yet. They're just 2D fighting games with 3D backgrounds and 3D wrappings, you know?
When is somebody going to make a fighting game where I actually push the joypad or I push back the stick and it just goes back really quick?
Yeah.
I'm sick of
That's
going
the
like
other thing in this game. You don't move away fast enough. You don't have enough run moves and you don't have enough pull away moves fast enough.
It's hard to move.
Okay, what do you give Mace?
Mace for the Nintendo 64 is a 7.8.
Yeah.
A great looking game, but it falls short on gameplay.
I'm real close to yours. I give it about an 8 out of 10. It's the best Nintendo 64 fighter. It's got beautiful graphics. You're gonna like the game just for that. It's fun to play with people. You're gonna get those combo moves going, but it's certainly no Soul Blade. It could have been a lot smoother. 8 out of 10.
Okay. Well, that about does it. Hey, I got a train to catch.
You're gonna catch this guy?
Yeah, I'll
All
see you
right.
later.
See you later. I don't know where it's going.
That's enough of this. I gotta go do some of that. I'll see you next week. Will I see you next week? I'll see you next week. What was the thing I forgot?
Production assistance for the Electric Playground was provided by Nintendo of Canada and Heat.net.
virtual boys around here.
This classic episode of The Electric Playground was brought to you by PMP Games, your source for everything video games. Support the partners that support The Electric Playground. Thanks for watching, and play forever.